we're completing the restoration of the USS Maine Memorial, one of 65 major monuments and memorials here in Arlington National Cemetery.
In January of 1898, the United States sent USS Maine to Havana Harbor, feeling that the presence of an American warship would have a stabilizing influence. At the time, Cubans were rebelling against Spanish rule, and USS Maine was there to potentially evacuate American citizens if need be. On the night of February 15, 1898, Maine exploded unexpectedly. Of the 355 officers, sailors, and Marines, only 94 survived. Shortly after the explosion, the rallying cry went up, "Remember the Maine," and the United States declared war on Spain. Today we remember the Maine through our continuous upkeep of the graves of the fallen, as well as our most recent renovation of the Mast of the Maine Memorial to its original condition back in 1915.
The restoration of this memorial represents a great partnership between the National Park Service and Arlington National Cemetery, as well as a great collaboration between the various engineers, architects, and conservators that the Park Service hired to help us solve the problem of water and bring the whole Mast back to the way it looked in 1915 when it was first dedicated.
The National Park Service was asked to get involved with the restoration of the USS Maine Memorial back in the early 2000s. And one of the first things we did was try to locate any original construction documents that we could find. And we were able to locate 4 of the original design drawings, which gave us a certain amount of information, but not everything that we needed. So without having any construction documents, we had to do some investigation involving dismantling certain portions of the memorial, including the dome structure and the foundation in particular.
So one of the unforeseen conditions that existed at the memorial, which we knew about but we didn't know the extent of, was the level of water infiltration that was coming from a failed gutter around the rim of the base of the memorial. Once we opened that up, we discovered huge fissures in the stone, which turned out not to be structural, but we had to go back and do some extra measures that we were not counting on to fill in those fissures, stop those leaks, and give us a good base for a new gutter.
Actually, at the beginning, I was overwhelmed to become involved in this project because there were so many issues with the memorial at the time.
It was leaking so much that the inside was usually flooded and was creating a terrarium effect on the interior.
But as we moved forward and we found answers, found solutions, it became easier.
And we are in the final days of the project, and what you're seeing in the background is the final setting of the stone pavers that have been removed, and the entire top of the structure was renovated and a new roof put on it, and we are reconstructing those pavers at this time. Yeah, right? Inside the memorial, all of the interior finishes are being renovated and restored, as well as we're going to renovate the entire outside of the memorial, repointing all of the joints and cleaning the surface. The mast itself has been stripped of all the old lead paint and a new coating system applied. Next week, the National Park Service will reinstall newly constructed shrouds or cables that go up from the perimeter rim of the structure all the way up to the top of the mast.
And I'm so excited about that. The rigging has not looked like this since after World War II, when the rigging was changed out. So now we're going back to the original configuration, pattern, materials.
We had taken measurements of the shrouds as they came off, and the original shrouds had some variation up to about 2.5 or 3 inches from one to the other, and I made all of these kind of a median length, and that still allows room for tensioning of the lower turnbuckle. I constructed those new pieces and brought them out here, installed them, and attached all the ratlins going across them. Each cable or shroud was approximately 5 hours of work. That was splicing the ends, doing the service or the wrapping of twine around it with a traditional serving mallet, a wooden tool that's basically been used for about 400 years.
Coming back and seeing the rigging going in place, it was a very proud moment. It was very exciting.
Myself and the other team members at the National Park Service and Arlington National Cemetery are very proud to have been associated with this, because we know not all folks in our field get to work on something this special.
Not just monumental, but a pivotal piece of American history that's sitting here with the men that lost their lives on the ship and the memorial to them.
It kind of gives me chills every time I think about what I'm working on and why I'm working on it, and especially being here up in the man lift working on the mast of the Maine and looking down at the graves of the sailors who were killed on the Maine. It's a great honor to have been asked to do this project.